had a lot of people that just loved her because she was such a sweet person. He assaulted her like really badly.
Rosie McCullough posted about her injuries after being released from the hospital. She said, "He was able to stomp my chest and abdomen, so the bruising and swelling is really bad there. Her pain was so severe, she wrote that she received morphine through my IV."
I said, I need you to leave the house. I don't care where you go. I need you to get out of there.
Friends worried the next time would be even worse after Bobby McCullough posted this threat on Rosie's Facebook page. It said, "Everyone, enjoy the show. More to come."
For 2 weeks, a Missouri mother used Facebook as her diary. She posted screenshots and details about what her husband had done to her. She pressed charges, decided she was done, and wanted the world to know it. But days later, a 911 call went to police about a suspicious person outside her home. Officers arrived, searched the area, and left because they didn't find anyone. When they were called back a few hours later, they found the mother and 2 of her children gone, a scene that no one in Missouri was prepared for.
Police say 34-year-old Roseanne McCulley, her 13-year-old son, and 6-year-old daughter were found shot to death inside their home. McCulley's estranged husband allegedly shot the victims before taking the pair's 1-year-old. Police say the suspect later died of a self-inflicted wound miles away in North St. Louis.
Very beautiful young lady. The kids were very manageable.
Neighbors say they last saw the mom watching her kids play outside their home on Wednesday. A bouquet of flowers now sits here in memory of the family.
I've been crying all. I ain't even been asleep. I was trying to get some sleep. I'm devastated.
My prayers, my family prayers go out to the family. I hate this even happened to the family.
Before we get too deep, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in these discussions. Roseanne McCulley, known to her friends and family as Rosie, was born on December 8, 1986. She was originally from Gosnell, Arkansas, but eventually relocated to the St. Louis, Missouri area. She attended Ladue Horton Watkins High School and studied communications at the University of Missouri in St. Louis, where she graduated in May of 2012. Rosie had a gift for art. She loved to draw, paint, and create custom designs. And just a few months after graduating from college in August of 2012, she took that passion and turned it into a business. She started Glitter on 8th Craft Studio, and through this business, she crafted handmade products, sold affordable craft supplies, and even posted easy-to-follow tutorials. She also worked as a customer service lead at Centene Corporation. And at some point, Rosie began a relationship with Bobby McCulley. Bobby was 35 years old, and the 2 of them met through mutual friends. But the thing is, Bobby had a criminal history. He had run-ins with the law dating all the way back to 2008, and it wasn't just minor stuff. When Bobby was around 23 years old, he was convicted of false imprisonment and also had a charge for tampering with a victim or witness. For that, he was sentenced to 1 year of probation and had to wear an ankle monitor. In 2016, a woman obtained a full order of protection against him. That same year, another woman reported him to authorities for a similar incident. Then in 2017, Rosie herself reportedly filed a complaint against Bobby. But she decided not to press charges, and the case was dropped. Despite all of this, Roseanne and Bobby McCulley got married on July 29, 2018. A week after the wedding, Rosie celebrated getting married to him. She wrote, 7 whole days. I've been Mrs. McCulley for an entire week. I'd do it all again. Hopefully in 7 years, I haven't thrown you overboard in Aruba and still feel the same way. I love you. Thanks for making dreams come true. Here's to a lifetime width of weeks and an infinite amount of memories. A few months later, in October of 2018, she praised him again, calling him the most supportive husband ever. It appeared that Rosie had found her person, so her friends and family supported her. Some of them had reservations, but they respected her choice. Then, in August of 2019, Rosie gave birth to Zora, her 3rd child. Now, Rosie already had 2 children from previous relationships, Caden Johnson and Kaylee Brooks. Bobby also had children, but Zora was the only child they had together. The birth of Zora brought hope. Rosie believed that having this baby would bring positive change to their relationship, but it didn't. Bobby's behavior got worse, But publicly, Rosie was still posting positive things about him. On February 20th, 2021, she wrote, "Man, it has been a day, and it's only 3 p.m. Who knows how things will change, but it feels good to remove negative stuff from my life." After that, she also asked a question about if women give their rings back when they divorce their husbands. Now, at this point, people reading her posts knew something had happened, but they didn't know the full story yet. Then she shared screenshots of their text messages together. Bobby was begging and apologizing. He said he had no one else to turn to and mentioned that he knew the police were looking for him. He asked Rosie to call them off because he was worried about losing his job, but she refused. She decided she was done. The next day, she made a post with all the details about what happened. She wrote, "I'd have to put this in retirement. I mean, I knew it was a little something, but I definitely never thought I would get hit for not giving it to a man enough. Y'all dudes really out here hitting your wife because they don't sleep with you enough?" She posted that she was at the hospital, where the doctors had examined her and found injuries in places she didn't even think about. Then she hinted at getting ready to protect herself. But Rosie didn't stop there. She kept on posting. She wrote, stating that she would never allow any man who put his hands on a woman to seek shelter at her house. Then, on February 24th, 2021, she made a post thanking everyone for all the calls, texts, messages, comments, posts, and even offers of money. People were showing her support, but not everyone saw it that way. Some people in her comments thought she was posting too much, and some others thought she was being too loud. She also asked if anyone wanted to help her move Bobby's belongings out of her house and into a storage unit. She wanted to remove any reason for him to come back or continue contacting her, and also acknowledged that Bobby was still seeing everything she posted, but she didn't care about any of it. And under one of her posts, Bobby wrote, "Everyone enjoying the show, more to come." He was making it clear that this wasn't over, but she didn't know what extent he was willing to go. Around this time, divorce proceedings were also initiated. Rosie had pressed charges on February 20th, but the police still hadn't found Bobby. Around 6:30 p.m. on March 4th, 2021, Rosie had a phone conversation with her close friend, Stephanie St. John. During that conversation, Rosie told Stephanie that she was scared. She felt like something was wrong. So Stephanie encouraged her to stay safe and keep her doors locked.
I said, I need you to leave the house. I don't care where you go. I need you to get out of there.
Around 8:30 p.m. that evening, a neighbor noticed something suspicious. There was someone lurking around the homes in the area, specifically around Rosie's home, so they called the police. Officers from the St. Louis County Police Department arrived at the 4800 block of Lockwig Trail. They looked around the area for any signs of the reported suspicious person, but didn't find anyone, so they left. But the thing is, Bobby was there. He was hiding and waiting. And when the police left, he made his move. He broke into Rosie's home through a window. A few hours later, a neighbor reported hearing screaming, yelling, and loud banging coming from the home, and noticed Rosie's lights flickering 3 times. The neighbor tried calling Rosie's phone, and when she didn't answer, they called 911. When officers arrived for the second time that night, they found a broken window at Rosie's home. When they got into the house, they found 34-year-old Roseanne McCulley, her 13-year-old son, Caden Johnson, and her 6-year-old daughter, Kaylee Brooks, all gone. But Zora wasn't found, so the police immediately issued an Amber Alert for the child and launched a manhunt for Bobby McCulley III. He was now wanted for 2 serious charges.
Around 8:30, county officers called to the 4800 block of Lockwig Trail in North County after a neighbor reported a suspicious person in the area. After no signs of that person, police left, only to get a call 3 hours later about a shooting. Inside, 34-year-old Roseanne McCulley, 13-year-old Caden Johnson, 6-year-old Kaylee Brooks, all shot to death in the home, and a 1-year-old missing. An Amber Alert was issued immediately. Police say it didn't take long for them to realize that 35-year-old Bobby McCulley III, the victim's estranged husband, is a suspect.
By the next morning, around 3:30 a.m., the Amber Alert was canceled because Zora had been found. Bobby had dropped her off at a family member's home, and she was safe. But the manhunt for Bobby continued. Around 8 a.m. that morning, they found Bobby's vehicle in the 1300 block of Clinton Street in the Old North neighborhood of St. Louis. This was near his mother's home. When the police approached his vehicle, they found him unresponsive. Bobby had lost his life as well.
The child was found with a loved one around 3:30 in the morning in North St. Louis. The suspect found in the area as well, in a car where he As officers tried to make the arrest.
We need people to point their family members or their friends to the types of resources to get them help, or if it's already crossed that line of violence, sometimes you got to do the uncomfortable thing, which is report it to law enforcement, because maybe it might strain that relationship, but it might save someone's life.
Police say McCulley had a history of run-ins with the law dating back to 2008. More recently, the alleged suspect and victim had a domestic dispute in 2017, but no charges were pressed.
This tragedy was not her fault by any stretch of the imagination.
The suspect had recently filed for divorce at the end of February, and police most recently were actively looking for him for a prior domestic incident. Sadly, they didn't find McCulley in time.
During the investigation, police discovered that Bobby hadn't been acting alone in his attempt to evade capture. His mother had helped him. 55-year-old Michelle Clayton was Bobby's mother, and according to the police, she had misled and lied to them, actively preventing them from being able to arrest her son. She had protected him even after knowing what he had done. Michelle Clayton was arrested and charged for hindering the investigation of a felony. Her bond was set at $25,000. Rosie's friend, Stephanie St. John, was one of the last people to speak to her. She had talked to her at 6:30 p.m. that evening and encouraged her to stay safe. Rosie had been private about the issues until 2 weeks before, so when she decided to go public online, Stephanie told her to leave the house because she was worried the next time would be even worse.
She had a lot of people that just loved her because she was such a sweet person. He assaulted her really badly. I said, I need you to leave the house. I don't care where you go. I need you to get out of there. That is a sick, sadistic individual
who took the life of her dear friend.
St. Louis is going to miss an extraordinary woman.
So St. John said she started to go to Rosie's house last night, but was talked out of it and now regrets not going.
On Saturday, March 13th, 2021, people gathered at the Buzz Westfall Justice Center in Clayton, Missouri to honor Rosie and her children. Rosie's family was there and spoke about the tragic incident.
On Saturday in Clayton, people met to honor her and her 2 children.
I lost my daughter and my 2 grandchildren to something that I never imagined would happen.
On Saturday, in front of the Buzz Westfall Justice Center in Clayton, people gathered to mourn the lives they say were taken too soon.
It's so heartbreaking because she's only 1 and she's not going to remember a lot, but I'm going to make sure that she's steeped in family. They saw exactly what had been done to her and they charged it as some misdemeanor, assault 3 or something, which meant they could only put out a wanted, which means that they weren't actively looking for him. I mean, had he run across them at a traffic stop or something, they might have arrested him, but they didn't actively go out and find him.
Although sad, All Solutions President and CEO Michelle Sherrod says events like Saturdays are necessary to end domestic violence.
My sister was brutally beaten on February 20th, and 12 days later, it was announced that she and 2 of her children were dead. My sister did absolutely everything. She filed a report the same day she was beaten. She followed up with detectives and officers in charge of the case, but this was not enough to protect her. The last text that Rosie sent my mother and me was updating us that her estranged husband was still not in police custody. She was scared for her life, and she had done absolutely everything right.
The police stated that they had been looking for Bobby, but didn't believe he posed an imminent threat, saying that there was no indication he was going to return that night.
She stayed there at the residence with her kids. There wasn't any indications to us that he was going to go back last night.
People who knew Rosie questioned if the posts were what provoked him. Would things have been better without those public posts about their private conversations and the jokes she made at him? Or did those posts serve as the only documentation of what she was going through? Did he keep Zora safe because she was his child and the others weren't? If the police had searched a little longer that night when the neighbor called about the suspicious person, could they have found him hiding before he made his move? On March 1st, 2021, Rosie had posted, "I'm definitely ready to walk down that aisle again." She was ready to find love again, ready to move on, and was already thinking about her future. She stated that she already had 2 trips planned for that year, one in the Dominican Republic in July and Bali in December. But sadly, she never got to see those. I hope these stories help you recognize warning signs and encourage you to seek help or offer support before it's too late. I'll see you in the next episode of Crime of Passion. Thank you for watching.